Okay, so very quickly just on the shading side of things now. So you all have this similar look. Some of them are going to look great. Some of them are going to look horrific. That's absolutely fine. It's called practice. You just need to keep trying and trying and trying again. If I show you these other ways of shading this in, so there's a couple of different methods. There's the curved lines method, which is going to be done on this one here. Right, so if I just come up in curved lines, now these curved lines, and the thing with this is they need to follow the angle of the front face. Otherwise they don't look right. They also need to start really heavy and get really dark and get really light towards the top. So you can see I put a load of them in at the end, and it'll get a little bit lighter and a little bit wispier towards the top. We'll do the same from the other side. Bring them in. Okay. Bring them in like that. And you can see we're starting to get our curved effect there with the green. So it's just literally bring a load of lines up, as many as you like. Starting heavy, easy up on your pencil as you get to the top to give that the definition there. Another method I'm going to show you is the dots. Now, personally, look, I don't like the dots, being perfectly honest with you. The reason why is if I have 30 of you in a room, not quite an issue in your school, but in other schools, if I have 30 students in a room and they're all doing this, I don't know how well you can hear that hammering action on the projector, but that gets very annoying. And all that is that you dot along here at the end, and you can add in a load of dots at the end. And as you get up higher, you just reduce the amount of dots. You reduce the intensity of them. So this is more for if the object was textured, let's say on a bottle, or the backs of some phone cases can be kind of textured like this. This will be the effect you'd use for that. You can see it is quite effective. I just think it takes a long time. And as I said, when there's a number of you in the classroom, for some reason you all like to choose this one to do first. And it's like a load of people with hammers going around the place. A load of little people with hammers. That's not exactly the most pleasant thing to listen to. So there's that option. The next option that you have is one that, look, personally I don't really use that much. Again, I think I prefer doing the shading this way. It also depends on what the material is you have, and it's called crosshatch. So for the crosshatch, what you'd have is you'd have a load of lines going along parallel. Very distinct, separate lines. And as you get up higher, they'd lighten up. And as you get back to the edge here, they'd lighten up again. They'd dark at the time and come back around a little heavy. And then you'd have your wispy lines coming up and crossing over those. So again, heavy at the end, darker at the top. It's kind of like a wicker basket. And you do it like that. Okay, again, one of the ones I find to do it properly just takes a little bit too much time in my preference, but look, can give a very nice result. The last one that I'll show you is what I was talking about when we had this aluminum like this. Now, forgive me for doing this quickly. I said, lads, you don't always have to do that skeleton. Once you get good, or once you get more practice, you'll be able to draw these cylinders nice and fast, just like this. You'll be able to see where all the disappearing points are on them. Okay. The last one then is if you have a metal object. Okay. So if you have a metal object, you'd be going for usually a grayer tone pencil. And what it is, it's very similar to this, but it just repeats a lot more often. So you'd have a really dark line here at the end. All of a sudden then, you might have a little bit lighter here. You'd have maybe another dark along. Then you'd have nothing. And then you'd have another dark along. And there might be bits where you have the light all the way along it. Like that. So you can see it gets a lot more reflective. And if I blend these out then, you can see that there's just full-on streaks of light hitting the object. If I was to do that for a cylinder, maybe that would go around like this. So if I had a shorter cylinder, is where it looks a bit better. If I had a cylinder like that, okay, you'd have really dark lines going along like that. You'd have nothing. Might start up again like this, fade out. It just all depends on what ways the light's hitting the object. And then you add a few more shimmers to it around the edges. And you'd have your metal look then like that. And if I just blended this out, it's got a little bit heavy-handed here. And you could very well, even with the reflections, you could have a bit of colour in it, because it could just be the reflection of whoever's standing in front of it has something colourful on them. And it would look a bit like that. Okay. As I said to you though, lads, my preferred choice for the sketches, and I think it's fastest, and I think it's tidiest, is that render blend method. So this would be blending render. Render is just the word we use for colouring and stuff. Render blend. Curved lines. Dotted. And hatched. Okay, so they're the different kind of styles you can use to colour stuff in. And this one didn't turn out looking too well for me. I just colour that in a bit more. Alright, so there are your different rendering styles for you on that, as I said. Not to make you sound awfully biased, this is the one I'd be going for. But give them all a go by all means. Alright, that's it for this week.